Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the 10 a.m. Time for Champagne podcast. It is the host with the most. It is Zach here with your lovely co-hosts, Chris and Caleb. Here we are out on the road. Where are we headed tonight, guys?
Tonight we are headed to, I just love having bright flashlights in my face. We're headed to Conshohocken Brewing Company to get their Girl Scout cookie flight and then over to Hooters.
So we're going for the cooks and the hoots is what I am hearing here. So the description and the address for both will be linked in the description down below, as well as all of our socials as well for at 10 a.m. TFC. Right now we are about halfway to the destination. Once we're there, we will be able to do our review live on the spot. We'll be drinking and chugging, combine the two there on the mix up there for the lovely stutter of the night. We will be live recording and toasting all of our beer, and will be reviewed as well on the Untappd app, where we will also give our ratings live and on the spot. That is really it from the road here at this point. Do you guys have anything else that you would like to comment?
Not this time.
Just hope that it's some good beer and some good food.
Alrighty, that is it from the intro on the road for episode 3 of 10 a.m. Time for Champagne.
Peace out.
Hello, gang. We are back here, and we are currently at the Conshohocken Brewery in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, right outside of downtown Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We just were in. We were going to review everything live and for you guys. However, due to the strong atmosphere that was just around us, and for audio sakes, we're just going to review it as a car side take and just go from there on how we feel and how we are viewing everything at the moment. We are currently outside of the brewery. We are going to just review everything from what we had, what we liked, some of the food that was available, some of the options, and just everything that was just surrounding it. I'm going to let Caleb start with the review and go from there on how we feel and what we think of it at this point in time. And then the ox. And then we're going to just go from there for review's sake, just for the podcast for episode 3. Caleb, what do we think of the Conshohocken Brewery here in outside Philly?
Hold it. So, the atmosphere was pretty nice. It was a little loud in there because of the small space. The service was nice. It was quick. The venue was kind of good. A little small. Needs a little more seating. It was cool to see the distillery area and all that. The beer was okay, not the best. It's a place to visit but not go back, in my opinion.
Ooh. All right. So we've heard it first from the wild card here on a not to go back to. Do we have two on the same page?
I mean, I'm not, for our drive here, I would say I probably will never be back. Unless there's some reason that I find to come back. It wasn't terrible. It's not the worst place I've been to. But for starters, like, the area we're in, I feel like I'm going to get mugged at any given point. So, there's that. But yeah, going in, the tables were very close together. There was hardly enough room to move around. I mean, it's good they draw in a crowd, but there's a way to reorganize that, so at least there's a little bit more room. As far as the staff was nice. That was good. As far as the beer goes, I didn't have anything that was, like, bad tasting as a beer itself. The lowest rating that I gave was low because I just don't enjoy wheat beer. That's why. But there was nothing here that was so terrible where I didn't like it. The beer was decent. Again, nothing impressed me. There was nothing that I took a sip of and like, I would definitely get this again. as far as the porters and the stouts, though, I got to give it to them because that flavor held up according to my standard for what a dark beers taste like, and I did enjoy those. The cherry one was my favorite. However, you didn't really taste the cherry, but it was still a good beer. Overall, yeah, I'm not going to make a drive to come back out here. There's nothing special here. As far as food goes, we're actually on our way to Hooters here shortly. We're 5.7 miles away, so we're gonna go there. So I just ate something because it was the first thing I ate all day. Got a hot dog, so there's not much to review there.
Oh geez, so we're going from 2 no's to 1 yes. I would recommend coming back here. It was a different atmosphere than your sort of general brewery where it was that spacious. This one was a microbrewery, so it was more compact. It was more clustered where everyone was around each other. Lack of distance in a different world in which we're in from what it was originally. Big fan of the distillery and venue that was just right on the walkway on the way in. That and the mix of the shuffleboard game that was right there on the way out as of a couple minutes ago before the recording of the car take of the brewery review here. Was just chit-chatting with a couple that was taking a mid-course intermission just for the brews and hoping she continues to win, hoping for a good game of shuffleboard there. So it's got some entertainment, it's got some games. Just going one by one down the list of beer here, we are going to start with the single draft beers. The big reason we did come here in the first place was for the Girl Scout cookies flight that was founded on Facebook here. And as we're getting our lists up and ready to go here, one of the groups that was up there was also ordering 3 orders of the Girl Scout cookies flight to go, and they got it ready as we are here in East Side, West Side Philly. Just ordering a 3-pack of these cookies.
Yeah, born and raised.
We are going to start with the draft beers that we did have. So we ordered 1 beer each just for responsibility's sake and for also hopping to our next place for the evening. We will go one by one on our reviews here. So we will start with the Zooisms?
Zooisms.
The Zooisms beer. It was a fruity-ish beer, so we are going to go from the reviews one by one here based off of our Untappd ranking. Chris, where do you want to start?
The only reason I ordered this is because the dark beer that I wanted was on the flight that we were going to get. But I actually gave it a 3 because to me it was decent. However, for the hazy taste, it wasn't, I guess, hazy enough. I didn't pick up on it enough. But it wasn't terrible, so decent beer, gave it a 3.
Gave it a 3. All right, that's not a bad rating. That is a very middle of the road rating for a beer. Didn't think it was the best beer that was on the menu, near the bottom. From what was had, we did have 7 total, but 4 were part of the flight. I gave Zooisms a 2. I thought it was quite a bitter beer, and just that, not enough fruit, not enough sweet, not enough wheat, not enough balance, where it was just really in one subcategory of its own, and that rating of it itself just pushed it down to a 2. Caleb, the wild card, what are we gonna go with for your rating?
He also gave
I gave it a 3. It was a decent beer, and it was I have to agree with Chris, our critic. It was decent. It had a good taste. It was more than average, and it just my palate just liked it.
All right, we all have our different tastes and our different likings for a beer. We are going to go next to the Zen Beer, which was purchased by Caleb, and we're going to go from there on his rating. Caleb, what did we think of the Zen Beer?
So Zen Beer I gave a 3.25. It was pretty good. It was a German wheat beer. And it had a good blend to everything. And just, my palate liked it very much, a good amount. More than the Zoomies. And just a decent blend.
All right, we're at a 3.25 for this one. Chris, what did we think of the Zen German Beer by xoKELSEYxo?
I gave it a 0.25 because I can't leave it unrated because of the top of your page. Then it'll tell you have X amount of unrated beers. So I rated it, gave it the lowest rating. Honestly, if I wanted a taste that made me want to vomit, that also tasted like bread, I just go to the Dollar Tree and buy a loaf of bread and eat the whole thing myself. So I don't like wheat beer, never gonna like wheat beer, so that's just me, and that's why I gave it such a low rating.
All right, so we got next to never ever going to have it again. We have it to love it, and now we're going to the middle. I gave it a 1.75. I thought it was the worst of the 7 beers that were had on the evening here at the xoKELSEYxo Brewery, microbrewery in Westside Philadelphia here in xoKELSEYxo, PA. Kind of thought it was a very bitter beer, just sort of like the Zooisms, but there just wasn't enough flavor, not enough of anything really to give it anything where it was close to mediocre. It was just a beer to me, and it was just something just to have once and never again. Going to the last draft that was on the evening before we jump into the biggest part of the pod coming forward here is the Gingerbread Ale called You Can't Catch Me. Part of the winter collection that is available here. Can't catch me with this rating. I gave it a rather high rating of a 3.25. I thought it was one of the sweeter beers that was on Untappd. Very filling. Thought there was enough flavor there and enough satisfaction to keep it inside where it was warm, and also heavy on the stomach as well, just to keep you through the evening. 3.25 was my rating, one of the most middle of the road ratings that we have overall that's available. Chris, what did we think of the You Can't Catch Me Gingerbread Ale?
So Caleb and I actually gave this the same rating of a 2.
Oh.
The reason I gave it a 2 is because it's a flavor that I've had before in another beer. So again, this didn't impress me, didn't stand out to me. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it's just something I've had. That's it, like, just another beer to me too.
Heisey, why did we think it was a 2?
So, to me it was a 2 because it didn't really, my palate didn't really like it. It was a little too dark, and I didn't really get a good gingerbread taste out of it.
All right, so we have our balance of different taste in love, not enough love, had it before type of beer that was available here. We're now going to go into the big story of what was here and what brought us out, and that was indeed the Girl Scout cookies flight that was available and to have as of February 1st. The day of the recording of this is Friday, February the 4th. So it's a 3-day-old line of flight that was available here. So we will be reviewing it from light to dark for the type of beer that was available. So that means we are starting with the Life Coach IPA. This beer was mixed with the Lemonade Girl Scout cookie that was on hand and available for all to have. Where did we give that rating here, fellas?
It's gonna take me a second to find it. Life Coach.
Right. I will start as that comes up here for the gang, as we are on the go here and on the road. I gave it currently a 2.5 out of 5 based on the Untappd reviewing. The way that I went through with the recording and the tasting of the beer was to have the beer first, the cookie second, and then the beer third. Just so that way I could taste the beer independently on its own, and then taste the cookie and the beer mixture after it was done. And with the mixing, it was far better versus where it was done with itself, where it just wasn't that, and I gave it a 2.5 overall. Chris, what did we think?
So for Life Coach, I gave this a 1.75. Again, it just didn't impress me. A taste that was similar to so many other beers, so there was nothing that stood out to me. The way I did it was the same way that I try new beers all the time. I took the beer and would swirl it and try to pick up on anything that I can pick up on, like potential flavors. Then took a sip, then took a bite of the cookie, and then took another sip. And this one just, again, didn't really stand out to me. And
Wild card?
So
What did we think?
I gave Life Coach a 2.75. It was more than average. It had a good almost a good blend. And it just, palate kind of liked it a little more than some of the other beers we had.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their own taste, their way that they like it from average to not average here. All of the images for the beer were also available on our Snapchat story at 10 a.m. TFC. That is a live Snapchat that is available. The images will also be popping up on the YouTube video if you are watching it. Thank you for viewing, and give us a like, hit subscribe, and share, and comment, because we do appreciate all those comments that do come in.
And feedback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Caleb. Next on the list here is going to be the Puddler's Row ESB, meaning extra special and bitter. Let's go with Davis on the ESB Puddler's Row, which was mixed with the Toast Yay.
So this one
Girl
I
Scout
gave
cookie.
a 2.0. Yet again, not impressed. Didn't stand out to me. It's hard for me to find beers that I genuinely enjoy, but none of these beers, aside from the wheat beer, made me sick or repulsed me, I guess. So
AKA the critic.
that's good, but yeah, again, not my favorite.
All right, highs.
So for this one, I gave it a 3.25. It was better than average. I kind of liked it as much as I liked the beer I chose at first. It had a nice blend. It was a nice taste. And my palate just liked it a pretty good amount.
Alrighty, you've heard it from the dynamic duo here on their mixture here. Going a little bit closer to one over the other, giving it a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was a better beer on itself, and even mixed just with the white chocolate on the back of the Toast Yay. Just made it that much sweeter and that much better of a beer to enjoy on itself. And with the combo, it was a great match. Gave it a 3.5. Was one of the better beers on tap. Currently giving it the bronze ranking out of the 7 that we have had here tonight. Next up on the list, going from lighter to dark, is going to be the Ivan's Exploration Series Chocolate Cherry Stout. I'll go first on this one, because continuing with the ranking here, we are going from bronze to silver. It was the second best, also getting a 3.5, but the mix with the right cookie also gave it that better ranking in that next step. From beer to cookie to beer, it was just one of those beers that was right. Even though it is a cherry stout, as the description says, didn't have it for me. Didn't have that cherry flavor that was there. Still a very good porter. Porter is one of the strengths here on the podcast. Continuing with that, it just paired perfectly with the cookie on hand. That was the Adventureful beer cookie, I should say. The Adventureful cookie was the mix with the beer. It mixed well with the flight. It just hit right at silver at 3.5 out of 5. Heisey.
So I gave it a 3.25, just like the last one. It had a nice blend. It was one of the porters I've liked the most. I tasted, you couldn't really taste the cherry, but I got a little hint of it. And the cookie paired well with it. And as I took the beer, then the cookie, then the beer. And as soon as I drank that second sip, the cookie kind of brought out more of the cherry taste in it. And my palate kind of liked it more after that.
Davis,
So,
what did we think of the cherry porter?
well, before it slips my mind, I just want to make it known that the reason we came out here was mainly because of this flight. And when I found it, I thought that this was something new and exciting. I was like, oh, I've never seen this before. But as it turns out, there's places all over the United States that are doing similar concepts to this with the same cookies, except for their beer, obviously. So a little bit disappointed to find out they're not the first, but I mean, it is what it is.
It's the first to us.
Yeah, it's first to us, but it kind of let me down a little bit finding that out. This beer, I gave it a 350. It was, it would have been, this was my highest rated here. When I smelled the beer, I didn't pick up on a smell of cherry, and I also didn't pick up on any taste of cherry. And I mean, the cookie that I was paired with, I apologize, little Susie who's going door to door to pay for her freaking New York trip, but I don't care about the cookies. So I was here for the beer, tried the beer. It was all right. It was my favorite one here. It got that porter taste down that I enjoy, so this is my highest rated.
All right, Ebenezer, we are going at it for the cookie hate, even though it is beer love, and that's what it's kind of all about here with the 10 a.m. Time for Champagne podcast, with the liking for the little bit of the bubbly that was available here. And last but not least, we are going with the darkest beer that was on the flight. Being paired with the Caramel Delights cookie is going to be the S'mores 2022 Stout. Caleb, we are going to start with you here. Getting a little tired of holding the cam in the little bit of the corner that I got. What are we thinking of the S'mores beer and stout?
So I gave it a 2.5.
Wow.
Because it was kind of average. It wasn't the best porter I had, wasn't the worst. It was just middle of the road. The cookie kind of paired well. Not really interested in the way the cookie was tasted, but it kind of paired well with the beer, and it was just an average taste.
All right. And Davis, what did we think of the s'mores pastry here that was available for the darkest?
So I gave it a 3 even, so only 0.5 less than my other one. It was just barely behind the other one. And that's because I enjoyed the taste of the other one more. But this was, it had that boozy taste to it, which was nice. And again, they got that dark beer flavor down that I personally look for. So it was a good beer. But yet again, it's not my favorite. And nothing that I've found tops my favorite dark beer out there yet. So.
All right. This is going to be maybe the sweetest take of the night, maybe the highest, and the reason why to come back. This is the only time thus far in our ventures out here that we have had a 4.0 rating, giving it the gold on the night, is the S'more Stout. cookie itself was great. If you're buying these cookies, shout out to you. Shout out to helping out little Susie. Shout out to Conshohocken on this beer here. Was really a fan of it. Thought it was sweet. Had all the right flavors. Had the right balance. And it was just a dark and satisfactory beer here. It was one of those different stouts that was had to be had. And maybe we'll have again. We'll see how that goes for the future of the 10 a.m. Time for Champagne podcast for the S'mores Stout here that was available. They did sell beer to go. Great on them for that. They did also sell 4 packs for $5 that were in the corner as well. Great move on them to do that as well. Rest of the venue itself, light on food. That's okay if we're going on that. Crowd, very great, very lively. It was a nice, active, and social crowd. Hence why we are doing a car side edition for this podcast episode here. Restrooms, not good. Very not good. Still haven't even washed my hands yet. Whole different problem for a whole different time. Right now, we are headed to Hooters here outside of King of Prussia, right near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We will be coming back with you here in a little bit just to review that. In the meantime, give us a like and a follow on the socials. Hit a subscribe on the YouTube. Follow the Facebook. Follow the Instagram. Add us on the Snapchat. And for now, we're going to just peace on out.
Yo, see you
Be
later.
responsible.
See you later.
Alrighty, we are back here for the continuation of the car-side, roadside episode of 10 a.m. Time for Champagne here. It is the three of us. It is 11:30. We are headed back to central Pennsylvania. Your car lights are going to need to be turned on here, boss man, before we head out. It's going to be in the top left corner. You got to twist. 1, 2, there you go. Headlights are on.
Just waiting for this to load.
We are currently, if you can see the visual side of things here, the Hooters logo is to the background of us. We are just currently leaving the Hoots. And boy, did we have a good night.
Oh, man.
Didn't we, guys?
We'll post the pictures later.
If you're hearing the ASMR in the background, that is indeed our British guide back home. It's our lovely little assistant here on the drive out. So we just completed up our trip here into Philly. Shout out Philly, shout out the hospitality, shout out the good times that were made and completed here. The memories that will last with us. Heisey, while you and I are currently on the screen here, what did we think of Hoot tonight, since we're just passing the sign where the light is out, where it just says Hoot, no ers?
I mean, I always love coming to Hooters. I love the hospitality there. And, of course, the female waitresses. And just the overall food and drinks and all that.
Alrighty, we are headed back now. We are continuously getting overlapped here by the continuous squealing and surround sound that is helping us just get back and return safely with the giggling by Chris in the back here. What a night it has been for the podcast here, and what a successful one at that. Caleb, do you want to tell us how you hit it off?
So we go about halfway in, I asked the waitress to get a picture. That will be up in the video at the end. And then I stole the hostess line by saying that the waitress was very pretty. And he kind of got a little upset with me about it.
Who got upset with you?
You?
Me?
Yeah.
I did nothing. I was a genuine gentleman. As you were saying.
She was very pretty. She checked on us very often, asked if we needed another drink or anything. Asked us to make sure our food was okay. And just just kept checking up on us every so often as she should have.
That's right. I mean, it was a great way for the night to sort of top itself off here. Great time, great food. Tonight it was the curly fries mixed with the Texas barbecue. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. The extra seasoning on the side did help with the assistance of the staff on hand. Great staff, great number as well. It's the quantity as well as the quality that was available for those that were still there right around closing time, let alone just getting the service, getting the communication, getting the timing of it all right as well. Just all of that coming together here was a decent fry, good seasoning, just brought the life out of the potato. I had the big hootie burger. I'd also give it a 3. It was a juicy burger, but there wasn't much to it. Had to add everything else to get the flavor in. Beer-wise, that's why everyone is here. Bud Light Lime was the beer of the night, highlighted here. I gave it around a 3.5 out of 5. The extra lime to the lime of the Bud Light Lime. It's a lot of lime. It's a limey and grimy sentence. Brings it all together, but brings it out for the beer and for the flavor of it itself. Land Shark gave it a 3. It was a rather tasty beer. First time ever having a Land Shark as well. Would definitely recommend it, and for the variety that was there, it was a great night to have. What else was on tap?
So I had the Philly cheesesteak. I get it most of the time I'm there. I would give it a 4 in taste and quality. And then for the drink I chose was Labatt Blue. That's my go-to drink, most likely because my dad drank it when he was younger at my age, and I just became familiar with it. I always give it a 5 because it's a good Pilsner and a good imported beer, and it's my go-to.
I mean, Labatt is a decent beer. There's never gonna be a hate on for an imported beer like that. It's always got its own taste. It's got its attractors and detractors as well. The critic here as well did also have the Bud Light, as well as some Wangs, just to have some variety into it. What did we think of the Bud Light Lime?
I like Bud Light Lime. I mean, I like normal Bud Light too, but that lime flavor is good. And honestly, the extra lime was nice. Like, I appreciate our server putting it in there. But for this beer, because it already has that lime flavor, it didn't really do much for the beer itself. It still tasted good, but it didn't add any extra goodness, I guess. And then I also had a Land Shark, and that I would have loved with lime, because I love adding lime to my Land Shark. That's honestly, that would be my favorite beer. Land Shark with lime at this point would be my favorite beer. Those are 2 that I ordered, and food was all right. Hooters is the one that we went to in Philly. It's not bad. Been there a couple times. Service is always pretty fast, no matter how full the place is. But I gotta say, tonight, like, the server that we had, she was my favorite out of all the ones I've had there. I mean, yes, she was very good looking, but also she was like very good at her job. Checked in on us very often. Was on top of if we needed refills, and was just very attentive, very friendly. And she got some good tips from us, so it paid off. If you're gonna play the game, play it well.
You got the truth.
That's the lead of the night. It was a great night here at the Hoot. It was a great night for the beer. It was a great night for the yeast. Everything else for photos, memories will also be shown through the Instagram, through the Snapchat, through the Facebook. Do add us on all of that. That is available. Linktree's still coming, running a little behind on that sort of production here. For now, and for the 10 a.m. Time for Champagne podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit a like, a comment, a subscribe, share it. Get those views out there. Get the love. Share the love. And we will continue to bring it to you. Next episode's coming around soon. Just keep an eye out for that. Any last parting words here, gang?
Just drink safe, drink responsibly, and have fun.
That's right. Be responsible, be attentive, help yourself, help the gang, and always leave a good tip for your server. And peace out.
Peace.